G'day guys, welcome back to the Rugby League Guru podcast. Going to go through some of the big news stories over the last couple of days here with my 5'8", the Catalina wine mixer. What is doing?
We have had a monster day of content.
Have we ever?
We've launched the Roo Crew. We're going to go into that a little bit later. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest news items of the day, if I may.
Yeah, rhyming. I like that. Very,
Yeah.
very good. That's what you get in the Roo Crew. You get a bit of rhyme, a little bit of rhythm. You get it all, mostly from Kat. Yeah, it's been big, the Roo Crew. We'll get into it a little bit later today, but our official Patreon for Rugby League Guru, it is live now, so you can check it out in the bio. You might already be watching this on the Roo Crew. Full credit to you if you are. But Kat, there are news stories, and good God, there's a bit happening and a couple of fun things that we want to get stuck into.
Yes.
Take us through the agenda. What do we got on today?
Okay, so we're going to touch on what has, I suppose, been the elephant in the room in the footy space. It is this Spencer Leniu, Ezra Mam story that's happened over the weekend in Vegas, and then it's obviously followed them home here to Australia. There is a bit of an update on that, and I think we're at the point where we can talk a bit about it, because I think it is one of those things where we didn't want to say too much before we knew what was going on. Then we're going to dive into more info about the Roo Crew. We've also got a Cam Munster injury to talk about. We're going to look at something really, really cool that the Bulldogs have done this week in the lead up to their first game against the Eels, which we know is a massive game for them. And then a little funny moment that happened in Vegas, and we're going to clear things up for the people at home. If you've ever wondered what a rabbitoh is, we're going to explain it to you the best way possible. And then a footy player who loves to cook. We're going to give him a bit of a promo today.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that last one. Absolute champion of a kid too, so we'll get to that. But let's kick off with the very shit and embarrassing elephant in the room, as we said, this Spencer Leniu situation. Look, I didn't comment on it too much because I just wanted to get all the facts and everything out there. I think I did mention in a podcast the other day, and you guys obviously know how I feel about this sort of stuff. Racism has got no place in rugby league. I thought that the aftermath after the event, Kat, I don't think Spencer handled it overly well. I don't think that people around Spencer did him any favours either. It was a bit of a shit fight there. Obviously, our thoughts go out to Ezra Mam and the Indigenous community that is just not fucking on, and that's the end of the story. Spencer had a statement that he made today. Have you got the statement there?
I do. He came out and said, "I want to apologise to Ezra and his family for using the words I did, and I'm sincerely sorry to cause him such distress. I've put my hand up and want to take ownership of this. I said the word, but I didn't mean it in a racist way. Anyone who knows me knows that that's not who I am."
Sure. I don't know Spencer, so I can't comment on the sort of person he is or how he meant that or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. The way this whole thing has played out has just been a shit fight.
Yeah, and I think a lot of Indigenous players, the likes of Latrell Mitchell, Nico Hines, they've come out and kind of showed their support for Ezra Mam. And I just think it's not the only story or the only incident that has a racial connotation in the news right now. I think obviously there's the Sam Kerr story that's taking place as well, and it's for some reason so divisive. Yep. I don't know how something that to me is so simple is dividing people, but I think we can all agree that racism has no place in the game, and it's good to see that at the very least Leniu took accountability for what he said, and it means that we can move on to finding a solution for things like this.
Yeah, definitely sort of took his time to take accountability, but you have to give him credit for it. He has taken accountability. He's taken it on board. So, yes, I want to move on from this as well. We'll see what sort of a punishment the league gives him. I believe it will be a pretty hefty one. And to be honest with you, Kat, you know, whatever they give him, I don't think it can be too harsh, in my opinion, because we've just got to stamp this stuff out of our game and know that it's not part of rugby league. It's not what we do, and it's just simply not going to be accepted. Yeah. So we'll see what plays out there. Essentially, you'll have to wear that one on the chin. He'll have to learn from it, and I hope that anyone else out there that needs to learn a lesson from it certainly does, because personally, as a rugby league fan, I travelled halfway across the world to watch our game be put on the world stage, and this is all we fucking spoke about, which shit me to no end.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's shit everyone at the NRL. I'm sure it's annoyed Vlandis. So whatever Spencer Leniu punishment gets, so be it. Hopefully we've all learned a lesson from this and we can move on from it. Once again, we do want to, wish Ezra Mam all the very best. I know that from being over there and talking to people after the game, he was very upset. As he should be. So we want to wish Spencer we want to wish Ezra Mam all the very best. And we'll see what the NRL hands down to Spencer Leniu.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can all agree inclusivity of all people, all culture. It's the key to this game. It is such a multicultural game, and that's the beautiful thing about it is you see so many cultures represented. A lot of those Indigenous cultures too play such a huge part in the game, and you see that more in rugby league than so many other sports.
Yeah.
It's something that should be celebrated, not something that segregates people or separates them.
I'll tell you what was wild. I recorded one podcast when I was in Las Vegas, summing up the first 3 days when I was there. Do you know what I titled it?
What?
Las Vegas Review, All Fun and Games, which turned out to be the bonehead remark made by Spencer Leniu after the game. So little Nostradamus over here. Unbelievable how that played out. I didn't even think about it until I got all the messages from people saying, oh, have you seen this? Unbelievable. Crazy how that turned out.
Yeah, I don't know. Next time you predict a headline, let's go for something else.
Well, I just uploaded a podcast today, Guru the Millionaire. So we'll see how we go. We might be in luck.
Where was the Rook in that title?
The Rook might get some loose change. We'll see. We'll see about it.
Good.
But yeah, look, there's no need on us to touch on that anymore. We like to stick to the rugby league topics, but I thought this was something important that we needed to touch on and we needed to address. You guys know how I feel, how Kat feels. That's where we sit on it. We'll see when the punishment comes out, what it is and how that then impacts the Roosters, whether he's out for how many X amount of weeks he's out for or whatever. We'll touch on it there, but racism's got no place in our game. It's got no place in this podcast as well. So that's where we're at. Roo Crew, Cat, big day for you, just quietly.
Huge day. So as we mentioned earlier, we've been rolling out the content for the Roo Crew. It's exclusive content. It's through this new Patreon page that we've created. I think it's a great opportunity to only build on the community that you've got going on, but it's a place for additional content, a bit of a deep dive, some exclusive stuff like your super coach reveal, which we'll get into. But do you want to talk through a bit of the Roo Crew, why you're doing it, and I suppose what the plan is there?
Yeah, look, I've tossed and turned over doing a Patreon for a very long time. Wanted to do it last year, didn't quite get around to it, didn't feel like it was the right time. I now feel like this year is definitely the right time. And look, obviously, there's money to be made off a Patreon, cards on the table. You guys 100% running a business over here. If I can provide you guys with extra content that I can put on a Patreon that you guys are willing to consume, 100% we're going to go down that path to do it. Obviously, I went to Vegas a few weeks ago. Me and Kat have got a lot of things planned this year as far as going to Magic Round, going to Origins, a heap of content to come off the back of it. There will be exclusive stuff in there for you guys if you would like to. If you don't want to, completely fine. Good as gold. $8 a month it'll be, so $2 a week. When you have a look at just what went into the Patreon today, for example, my Supercoach reveal for Supercoach Classic, my team's there for you guys to take that in. It's normally, one of my biggest podcasts that I get every single year. Everyone wants to see what I'm doing and what I'm doing and blah, blah, blah. So that's in there. We also went through Las Vegas. We pulled the curtain back, real behind the scenes sort of stuff there. I just sat here and Kat asked me questions about Vegas, went through my diary over the weekend. I finished talking. I looked up and Kat said that went for an hour and 45 minutes. So an absolute stack of content in there for you guys. There will be the audio and the video of just about everything that we do there. Every day I've got Kat here. There will be audio and video in there. You'll be getting a stack of content every single week. We'll have Q&As with Patreon members. We'll have our Instagram lives that we do. We record the audio. Normally put them on the Rugby League Guru podcast. They will be now made available live in the Patreon there. So the Roo Crew, an absolute stack to get stuck into content-wise. You'll also get first dibs on all Guru merchandise. Now, as you know, we've been selling all that out pretty damn quickly over the last year or so. Our audience is only growing, so I think the sellouts will move even quicker. So if you guys want to get there into the Roo Crew and have first dibs on merchandise, I would highly advise it. On top of that, Kat, we're going to have a few events this year, which is going to be super exciting. Got a Christmas party planned at the end of the season, little celebration for the Roo Crew, which will be here in the CBA Centre of Excellence. Invite you guys down to have a look around, take a couple of photos and whatnot. And then we'll be heading down to a local pub. I'll chuck a bit on the bar there and we can enjoy ourselves. Me and Kat will also be at Magic Round, hoping to sneak off to a few Origins and a few events throughout the year. And we'll let you guys know where we are to come and meet us. We'll have a few Roo Crew meetups. So very exciting. I'm super hyped about this. This is for the real loyals of Rugby League Guru to come in and consume all that content. There will still be an absolute stack of content on the Rugby League Guru podcast and the YouTube, but there will be little extras that will be available in the Roo Crew. So yeah, if you want to support me, what I'm doing and whatnot, and help Guru grow, there's a great avenue there. I'll be in there responding to all messages and everything. You guys will be prioritized, obviously. So heaps of opportunities there. I'm super excited about the Roo Crew, Cat. I think it's going to be fucking unreal. And I think the community we can build there, I think it's going to be second to none.
Yeah, I think it's also worth noting that this is not something that you've just done overnight.
Yeah.
We've spoken about this a lot longer than from when I've been working with you. It's always been part of the plan. And so there's some great ideas around how you can really build that community, get to know the committed followers, like you said, the guys and girls that are consuming everything and really getting around your content. And I think for $8 a month, it's a really nice way of feeling a part of the community. And, you know, you can drive a lot of the content too, and we can have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, just at the moment, like eyeballing it from where we're at the moment, I reckon during the season you're going to get 2 to 3 hours worth of content a week.
Easily.
Yeah, absolutely flying. And it's stuff that people won't get anywhere else. So super, super exciting. It's also ad-free. As you know, on the podcast, we've got ads that are flowing on there on sponsors and whatnot, completely ad-free in the Roo Crew. So unreal stuff. Go and check it out. The link is in the bio below. And we're going to kick it off today because the rest of this episode is actually going to be on the Roo Crew. So if you want to go check out the rest of the episode, talking about Cam Munster, talking about our little chef that we've discovered in the NRL, talking about some pretty special stuff at the Canterbury Bulldogs as well. Actually, Kat, let's touch on that now, actually, because that's something you wanted to talk about, which I think is really important. Yeah. So let's sneak that one in. The Roo Crew, it is available now. Go down to the description here on YouTube or on the podcast, and you'll be able to find it there. Go and join, $8 a month. It's going to be unreal. I cannot wait to expand it this year. Kat, what's that story you got for us?
All right. So, and yes, on that, we'll make sure that the remainder of the episode is linked so you can go straight to that Patreon video as well. But I wanted to touch on something that the official fan page of the Bulldogs actually sent to me. And guys, once again, if there's something that really catches your eye or you want us to talk about it, you want Guru to know what's going on with the game in a specific area, by all means, send us these things because it's so much better when we get it from you. But it was sent to me that the Canterbury Bulldogs kicked off round one with a traditional smoke ceremony to honour the roots of their land, to honour the Indigenous cultures which make up the land that they train and that they're from. And I think this is such a beautiful way of kicking off the season. We saw, and you actually hadn't seen it, Guru, but not in Vegas, I believe it was San Diego, the Rabbitohs also had a really traditional ceremony with the native people of those lands. They welcomed them to the training facilities, to the location in which they were for the entirety of that week. And I just thought it was such a beautiful way of acknowledging the cultures and the land. And we know that's something that's really, really crucial and important to that Rabbitohs side as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's fantastic you brought it up, Kat, because the reality is that's probably not going to sell papers. It's probably not going to get clicks, so you probably won't hear about it anywhere else. So I think that is fantastic. I think that, you know, as I said, you only hear about the negative stuff in rugby league quite often, and hopefully social media is starting to change that. I know here at Guru, it's something we're trying to really do is point out the positive stories that are going on in rugby league, and I think that's unreal. So that's the Canterbury Bulldogs have gone ahead with that.
Yeah, it is. It is. I just think it's a beautiful thing to touch on and to acknowledge, and I think it's showing the steps that the game's taking to acknowledge the Indigenous cultures that make up what is this game, and it's a beautiful contrast to the first story as well. Yeah,
exactly right. And once again, you'll hear about Spencer Leniu 1,000 times this week. Yeah. You probably won't hear about that one at all.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I was in America and I didn't know the Bunnies did that.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
So if you do want to see that, you can catch their Vegas episode that the Bunnies did as part of their like pre-season content. they did a whole deep dive into that kind of week in the lead up to Vegas, and they showed that ceremony, and Latrell looked really moved by it, which I think was really special. But definitely check it out if that's something that you're interested in.
Unreal. Fantastic. Guys, the rest of the episode will be on the Roo Crew. So if you'd like to check that out, the link will be in the description, in the bio, for you to check that out and watch the rest of this episode.